How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I got these because I wanted to be on theme, and they have little spider webs, and we're making a little spider girl because it's spooky season. If you don't like spider imagery at all, even a little bit, even like hokey Halloween spiders, you probably don't want to watch this one. But if you love that, let's hop right into it. So for this project, I'm going to be using this little brown tarantula spider thing that I found at the Dollar Tree, as well as this Barbie Chelsea doll that I found for like $4 at Walmart. I was walking past and I saw her on sale and I was like, she will be the perfect size to attach to my spider to make my little Drider princess, you know? I decided that I wanted to keep her brown hair because I felt like it would go well with her brown spider body she's going to eventually have. So I'm just tying that back to keep it out of the way before I start sawing her in half, you know. So I was actually so scared the whole time I was doing this because I've never used the saw attachment on my rotary tool before, and I don't know, I was so afraid that I was gonna mess something up. I decided to use a little plastic guard to keep like plastic shards from hitting me, but I think next time I might leave it off, that way you could like see better, because I don't think it really did that much. Like, this isn't even that dangerous. I was just scared because I'm a little weenie baby, but I just worked very slowly, taking little chunks around the whole circumference of her torso until eventually it was weak enough that I could just snap her in half. I just realized I probably shouldn't say that this isn't that dangerous. For the record, you should always be as safe and careful as possible using any power tool, any cutting implement. You should take all your due cautions so you don't hurt yourself. Okay? Disclaimer. After cutting her in half, I take her face off using 100% acetone to get her ready to become a new person. Okay, so after I took her face off, I started doing the most like convoluted series of steps to attach her to this spider. Like, I made this so much more difficult than it needed to be. Here I'm hot gluing like wads of cotton ball to the top of the spider to help build that up because Okay, so I started this project very recently and I was trying to get it done very quickly, alright? So I wanted to mitigate as much drying time as possible. So I didn't want to just like use clay for everything because that would take forever to dry, even though I am using clay now. I don't know, dude. Usually I would use like tinfoil as like the base of like any clay thing I'm doing, but for some reason I was like, I'm gonna use cotton balls, and then I like smushed clay over it, and then I put like Mod Podge over the cotton balls so that the clay would stick to it more. I don't know why I did this way, like the whole time. I don't know what I'm doing here. The point is, I was trying to build this mound on top of the spider. That way, my girly could sit up a little taller on it, because if I just attached her directly to the spider, it would look too weird and short, okay? So however you want to build up this mound, that is up to you, my friend. Probably just use clay the normal way instead of whatever it is, this weird way that I chose to do it. I set that aside for a second to fill up the hollow part of her torso with hot glue and set a toothpick in there so I can like attach the two pieces together. And I just used so much hot glue to do this, and then I sat her upright like this while it dried to keep the toothpick centered while it hardened. And then I trimmed the toothpick and shoved her into this little divot I made in the center of the mound. I used more hot glue. I had to trim it some more because I made it too long the first time. And then I just stuffed her right in there. And then I cut out the next part of the process. Literally because I'm so ashamed of how much hot glue I used. I just smoothed out this whole section with hot glue. The transition between her body and the spider. I just used so much and it was so embarrassing. I didn't want to show you guys, but that's what I did. And it worked fine. You know? Like, she's in there solid. She's not going anywhere, dude. And it's fine if it looks ugly, okay? I'm covering it with fur later. But before I started covering her with fur, I decided to sand down that little like rim edge from the molded on bathing suit because I thought it'd be easier to put clothes on her if that wasn't there. So I just went to town with some sanding paper. After that was all sanded, I decided to go over that hot glue mound as well as any remaining bits of her bathing suit with some brown paint. That way, if there's anything showing underneath the fur, it won't be so noticeable. Now it's time to make a metric shit ton of yarn wefts, baby! This is what took the bulk of the time of this project. So here you can see I'm preparing yarn wefts by wrapping some yarn around my hand to get relatively even strips. And then I am attaching that to a dowel rod. That way I can brush these bad boys out and start making some fur out of them. Once I have it all brushed out, I'm trimming the ends to get them more even, and then I am applying a line of Mod Podge to my silicone mat and then sticking the fur down to it, putting another layer on top, letting that dry until I have a beautiful little yarn weft. This project took so much more fur than I thought it would. I had to do several rounds of making wefts, but eventually I had enough. Once I had some wefts prepared, I was able to start hot gluing them onto the body of this spider because I'm going for that sort of like wolf spider kind of look. You know, the really furry boys. I just think furry spiders are really cute. And I thought that fur would cover a magnitude of sins, and it did indeed do so. I think I spent like 2 or 3 days just getting the fur portion of this project done. And because this is what took the most time, I'm going to take this moment to say that if you watched this far and you liked this video, consider liking it. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more things from me, consider subscribing. I have a lot of fun things planned that I can't wait to show you. And if you have thoughts, feelings, or onions, please let me know in the comments below. Mostly if you're nice to me, please be nice to me. I cry very easily. So for the legs, I decided to trim the fur on each leg before starting to glue the hair onto the next one. That way the fur wouldn't get in the way because these legs are so close to each other. And if I were to do this project again, I would have glued the fur onto the legs first, but I didn't realize how much of a pain in the ass it was going to be because I've never glued hair onto a spider before, but you know, we learn things all the time. Here's what she looks like with her fur all trimmed. I think it came out so cute. I'm honestly obsessed with it already, but she's not done yet. She needs some clothes. So I decided that it'd be fun to make her like a little princess, you know? Because I feel like a very common trope is the like spider queen. So because she's baby, she'd be spider princess. And my friend Dan sent me a bunch of these little trims and little odds and ends and stuff, and a lot of them were gold, so I decided to go with gold for the color scheme, even though that's not like traditional like spooky spider colors. I just thought it'd be fun to do something very regal and use colors I don't use so often. I honestly found this whole project so inspiring. Like, I really want to make a whole line of little monster princesses now because making her little like dress was so fun. And I think that even though like this idea is kind of cursed, like gluing a Barbie onto a spider is kind of cursed, I think this actually came out like one of my cutest projects ever, and it makes me want to make more cute stuff that's like a little off-putting, you know? Also, I made a point to actually sew her clothes because if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I have an aversion to making garments, but look at me, dude. I'm pleading over here. I sewed that little ribbon trim onto that skirt. Like, I'm putting the work in, okay? And it's for you guys. And also because someone left a comment asking me to like actually make more clothes, and I'm nothing if not a listener, you know? I'm actually hemming things. I historically never hem anything, but I'm like, she's a princess. She should be put together. I can't have my little rough edges that I usually leave behind. Another thing that this really inspired me to do, like, now that she's done, obviously she's not done yet for you guys, but in real time, I'm like looking at her on my desk, right? And she's so baby. And I feel like I really want to make her mom because it's like making me sad that she like doesn't have one. So I thought I would do that thing where people are like, if you get this video to like, I don't know, like 500 likes, I'll make the spider queen so that she can have a mom and not just be like a little orphan baby sitting on my shelf. It's making me sad, dude. So I debated on a few ways to make the closure for her skirt. I ultimately decided to sew on these little like elastic gold string bits and have her skirt be like tied on and around because this worked better. Like I have little like clasps, but I couldn't find them, so I did it this way. For her top, I made this little halter top using that same elastic thread, and I'm just fastening that to her with this golden yellow thread and just kind of looping it? You get it. I'm looping it around. I also decided to take this colorful gold trim that came in that same box from my friend Dan, and I'm applying it over the other trim that I sewed on because I thought it'd be like a fun burst of color and just make her outfit a little bit more like fun and interesting. Y'all, so many different little gold trims came in that box because this was in there too, and I decided to use it as like a little bracelet moment on her human hands as well as her like front two spider legs because I thought it'd be cute. I don't know. I debated on putting bracelets on all 8 of the spider legs, but I kind of felt like it would be too much at that point. After I got her clothes all made, I decided to stick her head back on and start working on her hair. I decided to give it a little trim so it wouldn't drag on top of her spider butt, and then I pulled half of it back to do this sort of like half up, half down kind of look. I used a needle and some sort of shimmery golden thread to wrap around where her hair was pulled back to do this sort of like ornate little thing to hold her hair in place. I don't know. I was just kind of experimenting around. I don't do much with like actual like factory doll hair very often because I typically work with yarn. So I'm not as experienced working with this sort of material, but I think I came up with something that I'm happy with. It's kind of funny because ultimately it doesn't super matter because I'm gluing some more of that gold trim on top of it to create her little like headpiece, tiara, crown moment. And then I finished that off by adding some of that colorful gold trim on top of it. So once that's all finished, the last thing that I'm doing is her face up, which for those of you who've been watching my videos for a while now, you know that this is a kind of unorthodox order of operations for me, but I just felt like doing it this way. I don't know. I just didn't want to put her head on after her face was painted because in my heart, I just felt like something was going to go wrong. And because of that, I do things a little bit differently this time. So you're going to see that I completely forego using chalk pastels for her, and I just use paint, and because of that, I'm able to forego using any sealant because acrylic paint will kind of just stay put without needing to be held in place. You do miss a little bit of like the finer definition that you can get with chalk pastels, but I think she came out cute anyways. Maybe it's because she has a child's face, and so keeping things pretty light and minimal I think is very complimentary to keeping her looking youthful. I also know that several people that watch my videos really appreciate that I show alternative methods that don't require Mr. Super Clear, which is a very common material used for doll customizing. And this is just a further example of that because I don't use any sealant at all for this one, and I think it came out really cute. Like, you can get very good results using very easy to find materials and relatively inexpensive materials as well. Like, this is all, you know, cheap acrylic paint, and I think it's cute. As you know, get little freckles. I just like watered them down, pat them off, and that helped bring a little bit more life and dimension to her face without needing, you know, materials that require sealant. The very last thing that I'm doing is painting on her little lips using a very natural neutral color because she's not wearing lipstick, she's a baby. She does have on eyeshadow, but it's because it's a special day, okay? And with that, she is complete. Here are the file results. I'm in love with her. I think she came out so very cute, and I hope you like her as well. That's it for this video. I hope to see you all next time. Love you, bye!